So apparently your money is at risk, and all these people are getting some very bad news when they check their bank accounts and their statements and online balances after recent visits to local Chase Bank ATMs, only to discover that most of, if not all, of their money is now gone.
I know what this is.
Are you seeing this one already?
I have seen this, and I was like, are you serious?
Did you see it on TikTok?
Facebook Reel that was probably brought over from TikTok.
The recent victims of a new banking fraud and theft technique that thieves are using at Chase Bank ATMs and more than likely other bank branches and ATMs around the country, like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Truist Bank, PNC Bank, Renaissance Bank, Fifth Third Bank, and any other bank for that matter that has a chip scanning feature for access.
Which I also, when I saw it, I didn't know that was like a real thing. So I thought that was part of the scam to begin with.
Oh, it gets even worse, but I'll tell you. So, which was originally designed, this chip was originally designed for added security. And as we can see here, the thieves and their techniques have evolved to rob people blind and without them even knowing that they are actually helping them to take their own money out of the bank. This is not only bad news for the account holders who have seen their bank accounts drained in minutes, but also very bad news for the banks as well, and terrible news for small business entrepreneurs who once had the ability to produce great passive income streams from the use of their ATMs placed in different locations and inside businesses all around the country. This is just yet another example of why my 3 pillars are so very important: diversity, security, and cash flow. Let's talk about it.
So before, are you going to show what it is or any of that kind of stuff?
No, we're just going to talk about it.
Okay, so the very first thing that I thought of when I saw this was that it's going to make it very hard for people to trust the kindness of strangers.
You know, well, yeah, for sure. I mean, the trust amongst humanity and people in general is diminishing rapidly, but that trust has been tested. Like I said, locks are designed to keep honest people honest. With the incorporation and the utilization and the availability of technology, it literally is like unlocking the locks. Therefore, the dishonest people become more dishonest because there's no locks in place. And is literally what's happening because people don't realize that they are helping these people into their accounts.
So do you want me to explain what it is or not?
Yeah.
Okay, so from what I gathered and what I remember, there was a video of this woman who went to a Chase ATM and she put her card into the slot and it didn't work. And some random passerby was walking by and he taps her on the shoulder and goes, "Hey, use the new tap feature on the front. The thing's been messing up. The little insert part's been messing up, but the tap feature works great." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much." She did the tap feature and sure enough, she was able to get her money out. And she just thought the kindness of a stranger helped her solve a problem that she didn't understand what was happening, right? Well, then the next day, she logs into her online banking, as everybody should check this every single day, no matter who you are, who you bank with, always check your statements every single day. She logs in and sees where she took her money out at that time, but then sees where more money was taken out numerous times afterwards. And she realized that that touch scan thing, whatever the guy did, ended up being some sort of scam, but I'm not 100% sure how they did it.
So we're going to touch on that. No pun intended. But you got to think, I want you to understand where we are today, where we're headed tomorrow, and the places that we have put ourselves in to allow this to happen, where there was a time where you might have remembered the commercials where, oh, I don't have my bank card on me. I can't access funds in the bank. Oh, but yes, you can. Just send a text to Bank of America or Wells Fargo, and we'll get you into an ATM. This is part of the problem, okay? But the other part of the problem is diversity, security, and cash flow. So the cash flow is going to be huge because if someone takes all of the money you have, you're going to need the ability to produce more. The diversity could help with that cash flow and security by having multiple banks so that if one gets drained, you still have a backup. But the security is number one. And that's what's being breached here. And also why tech like Tap to Pay, Apple Pay, digital wallets, and other technology will, with the idea of simplifying transactions in mind, will add to the total demise and a different transfer of wealth.
This is off topic, but I'm going to throw this out there real fast. This may be why like Whole Foods and Amazon themselves are moving into that palm scam, because nobody can duplicate your handprint unless you're like Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise and whatnot. But generally speaking, they're going to say that is your safer option than pulling out your credit card and tapping it on it. You just scan your own biometrics that nobody else has, and there you go.
Perhaps, maybe. But this is also, in my opinion, a push for the Executive Order 14067 and CBDC, okay?
Definitely CBDC.
And also the elimination of cash, because think about it like this. If you didn't need cash to go to the ATM to get out cash, the scam wouldn't happen.
Exactly.
And if it were CBDC, the Fed, the central bank, they could track it to the millimeter and find that person
who started the scam. That makes sense too, though.
Now, it says that that transfers, this wealth transfer that everybody's been talking about, is actually going to be a transfer of money from hardworking people directly out of their bank and savings accounts and checking accounts and directly into the hands of criminals and thieves. And it's no wonder why banks want to move away from cash altogether.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about the banks too and their motivation here. But first, welcome everyone, and thank you all for joining in on your daily dose of the truth about what matters to you most. And if you're new to the channel, my name is Kevin, and today we have Squirrel Tribe. Welcome.
Michelle, by the way.
And on my channel, we discuss, investigate, plan, and prepare for all things finance, money, economy, savings, investing, building wealth, building businesses, building YouTube channels, and other monetized income streams, diverse income opportunities, passive income, CBDC, central bank digital currency, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, BTC, Ripple, XRP, ETH, Ethereum, real estate, mortgage rates, the housing market, retirement, the stock market, inflation, looming recession, and so much more. All your likes, shares, and comments help the channel immensely and will help me in continuing my research, investigating the important facts, and uncovering the truth for you all, in addition to providing you with loads of information and tons of value to help you improve your finances, save more money, achieve greater returns on your investments, increase your income, and build out multiple and diverse active income streams on the way to securing solid, long-lasting passive income streams. So please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel and help me reach the goal of hitting 75,000 subscribers. Thank you all so much. You're all so very important, because without any of you, none of this would be possible.
Very true. I had a random thought, and I don't know if you want me to throw it out here or not. Do you want to hear my random thought?
Sure.
Okay, so it has to do with CBDC. As somebody who used to run retail locations for a few companies prior to where we are now in life, the having to take cash payments at a register and making sure at the end of the night that nobody took cash out of the register, that nobody gave too much change back, that we weren't short or anything like that, that was stressful every single day. And then the fact that then at the end of the day you had to take this whole basically like pocketbook kind of full of cash to an ATM and deposit it was also stressful. So for businesses, moving away from cash and moving to only credit card transactions or CBDC makes safety sense.
Cash definitely allows for way more human error. But the only thing that would be more stressful than being an employee working for a large Fortune 500, Fortune 100 company and managing a relatively small amount of cash in comparison to the annual revenues that these companies produce of the hundreds of millions of billions of dollars. The only thing worse than that would actually be managing your own for your own business. And at the end of the day, a long, hard day, only realizing that you are now short of any and all profit that you thought you may have made.
Yeah, no, completely agree.
And folks, for anyone and everyone who's been asking about how I protect, secure, and diversify my assets and investment portfolio, I want to share that I continue to diversify my portfolio and my investments, because you just never know what they're going to do to us next. The days of the dollar as we once knew it are numbered, and the new CBDC, central bank digital currency, will be here before you know it. And I want to make sure I have options. I hope that you're all doing the same, and I've included links in the description down below to Genesis Gold Group. Jonathan and David are the absolute best and are available to help answer any questions that you may have and get you set up and on your way. And I'll tell you what, I know that I sleep better at night knowing I've made the right choice for me and my family, and they make it simple and easy to diversify and not only invest in one of the financially strongest precious metals, but more importantly, if you're like millions of other worried and frantic Americans right now looking at this crazy economy and their retirement investment portfolios and wondering what they're going to do now. And if you're concerned about the economic storm and how your IRA and 401k will fare during these turbulent times, top experts are predicting now is the time to be protecting your assets with physical gold and silver. Find out why Genesis Gold Group is the #1 recommended company by your favorite preppers and homestead YouTube channels. Receive Genesis Gold Group's free definitive gold guide today, or give them a call at 1-800-200-GOLD. 1-800-200-4653, or check out their website at www.genesisgoldgroup.com. And so, like I said, we are constantly being forced to adapt to accept and utilize new tech like Tap to Pay, Apple Pay, digital wallets, and other technology with the idea of simplifying transactions in mind, and also the perception of increased security. But I find it really hard to put faith and trust in these virtual cloud-based swipe of a finger or palm scan of a chip over the air transaction methods, especially after reading reports like the one that I'm going to share with you from Chase Bank customers who had their accounts drained minutes after visiting Chase Bank ATMs. And sadly, it appears that new tech, OpenAI, ChatGPT, DID, DALL-E, Bard, and whatever else is in the works at big tech companies like Microsoft, GitHub, and Google, and other payment processing merchant companies will add to the total demise and a different transfer of wealth. That transfer of wealth being money from hardworking people directly out of their bank savings and checking accounts and directly into the hands of criminals and thieves. And it is no wonder why banks want to move away from cash altogether. So the banks, they have fraud protection. But there's a cost for fraud protection.
Of course there is.
To replace lost and stolen money, someone's got to pay for that. So if I am on the hook for it, I'm going to continuously work to develop and find ways to make that less of a likelihood of occurring. So for instance, if I ran my own business in which I had to operate a cash register and oftentimes the cash register came up short, I would either have to eliminate the cash or I'd have to eliminate the employees that were on the clock when the cash register came up short. And the banks are going to do the same thing.
They'll eliminate the businesses or the consumers who are having overdrafts or whose accounts keep getting hacked or things like that, because they are then on the line for the money that left their bank.
It's going to be a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Okay.
So yeah, exactly what you said. These accounts are going to get flagged. The algorithms, they're already tracking these accounts as problem accounts. Some of these problems are truly not their fault and accidents, and others are them taking advantage of the system. But then in B, they'll just get rid of cash.
That's along the same lines of, let's say you have a credit card and you constantly keep it maxed out. So then you reach out to the credit card company and you're like, hey, can I have a larger spending limit? And they're like, no, because all you do is keep it maxed out and you're not paying us back any of our money. Why would we want to give you more options to spend?
Well, with the credit card companies, that comes into a risk analysis standpoint, because if you max it out and you carry a balance and you make your payments, they actually prefer you as a customer because they're making more money off of you because of the interest that they're getting. You know, then it depends on, if you're using cash advance or anything like that. If like you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, they're not interested. But they're equally not interested entirely in people who have cards that they don't use. For instance, hey, if you don't use your card, we're going to shut it off. which you received.
Which I got from Old Navy, or whoever owns them now. I can't remember who owns them, but I haven't used Old Navy in years. And they sent me a thing saying, if you don't use it within the next 60 days, we're going to give you 60 days to go out and make a purchase with us. But if you don't, we're going to shut it down. In order to get a new one, you'll have to reapply. So run your credit and all that stuff again.
Yeah, screw all that.
Yeah.
But this is also, the banks are going to flag accounts. They're going to eliminate the threat. They're going to minimize their risks. They're going to mitigate loss, and they're going to eliminate cash as best they can. And this is going to make a strong push in the direction for CBDC, central bank digital currency, which is already in a pilot program with 12 large national U.S. banks, Wall Street banks. Executive Order 14067. It will implement tracking, tracing, locking, locating, taxing, reversing, terminating, and taking. They're going to have complete control.
Yeah.
They're going to have complete control, okay?
And that goes into all kinds of different scenarios and issues that could come about in the future if there are supply chain issues and there's limits on things. Instead of putting limits on products on the shelves, they can put limits on how much you're allowed to spend that day. Like, it can go very, very bad very quickly.
We've already seen where they tried to track gun sales with credit cards and certain SKUs. They could literally tie SKUs in and make it so that you couldn't, the stores don't have to place limits on purchases. The central bank would place limits on purchases based on SKUs.
Yep.
Like, everyone in the country is allowed 1 roll of toilet paper.
2 cartons of eggs is the current going thing in the grocery stores.
Yeah. So you'll then be like trading cartons of cigarettes in prison for cartons of eggs instead. But it says, let's discuss what problems Chase Bank account holders have experienced here lately and discuss ways that we can prepare to protect ourselves and our money and savings in these banks from crooks, criminals, and thieves on the streets. And then later we will discuss how to protect our wealth, savings, and money in checking from the other thieves and criminals. Do you know who they are?
Who?
The banks themselves, and the Fed and the IRS. Everybody wants a piece, folks.
Yeah, they do.
Now, I want to read to you a portion of what ABC7news.com shared on Saturday under the article headline, ATM Thieves Use Glue and Tap Function to Drain Accounts at Chase Bank. All right, so it says ATMs provide great convenience, but they also are longtime targets of thieves. Some use skimmers to steal your account number or stand by nearby to rob customers. Now there's a new kind of ATM fraud and a warning to watch out if you use the tap function on your debit card. The tap feature uses radio waves to access your account. No need to insert your card. But some Chase Bank customers say thieves use the tap feature plus ordinary glue to steal their money.
So the glue, meaning they put it into the card insert so that you could not insert your card, therefore you were forced to use the tap.
So Pamela Bongiorno shows 7 on your side how she got scammed at this ATM. And she says that, so I was using the ATM machine on the right-hand side, and my partner was here. The guy next to him was here, so I guess she's just showing the locations. And I inserted my card, and it didn't work. Then a man in line offered advice. He says, oh, if you have a chip in your card, you can tap it. So she says that she tapped her card, and it worked. She got her cash, thanked the man, and walked off. And then the next morning, she looked at her bank account, and she said that she was shocked to see that there were 3 more withdrawals from her account and $940 was gone. So she said to her partner that the guy scammed me last night, and the same thing happened to Rob Bell at the same ATM when the card reader didn't work. A man leaned in. I didn't think anything of it. I just thought he was using the ATM, is what he said. There's a problem with the slot function. You have to use your tap function, is what the guy tells him. So Bell tapped his card, took his cash, and walked off. Later, he found 2 accounts had been drained, $560 gone.
Yep. So here's what my first thought here. I shop at Publix a lot for groceries because going through the zoo of Walmart, I'd literally rather play in traffic. So I go to Publix a lot of times, especially because they have BOGOs, right? The buy one, get one. But every time I go to pay with my chip card, and I don't use my bank card. I never, ever use my bank card at grocery stores. I always use a credit card that has some sort of cash back or some sort of rewards to it. Then I'll go home, pay it off. Not the point here. But I go to put in my Amex, because that's what I like to use, and it no longer will take the chip when I insert it. I always end up having to tap it. Always. Only at Publix. Other places I can still insert the card, I can still swipe the card, but Publix has made it so that you have to tap now.
That's very important.
I know.
That's very important.
Because what we're talking about, I was like, oh crap.
This one here says that Justin Sindelar tapped his Apple Watch at the ATM. Now this is as we're getting into the other tech features where Bank of America would send you a code or allow you to use the NFC on your phone in near field communications to gain access. And he says that he withdrew $40. And then later he found 5 more withdrawals in a row. $960 was gone. I'm so happy to know that there are people out here with a few $100s in their bank. That's a plus.
That is helpful, yeah.
And he says, wait a second. I definitely did not withdraw that much money. I think someone walked up to the ATM right after I used it, and the victims complained to the bank manager, and they have reported this to the police, and it's happening up and down Mission Street. And the manager told the first woman, Bongiorno, how the scam works, and it starts with glue. She told me that they put glue in the card reader of the ATM machines so you can't use your card. So customers tap their card instead. But here's the trick. When you tap, the account remains open for more transactions unless the customer proactively logs out. And some customers don't know this, but the scammers do. They wait for the victim to leave and then walk up and continue making withdrawals on their account. All 3 victims filed a fraud claim with Chase Bank. All 3 were denied. The bank said that the customers authorized those withdrawals, and that's definitely not true, according to Sindelar, and said, this is ridiculous. Bongiorno said, why would I do 4 separate transactions right in a row? Really? They should have a picture of who actually did it. And victims said Chase would not review surveillance video because the amounts were below $5,000. So Bongiorno filed her claim again and again and again, and Chase finally replaced her money. And after our inquiries from Channel 7 News, the bank refunded Sindelar and Bell. And Chase told 7 on your side, when using an ATM, be vigilant in protecting your PIN number and making sure you have logged out of your account. Bongiorno says that I will never use that little tap function again. Now, Chase did not say why multiple withdrawals did not trigger a fraud alert or why the bank did not review surveillance video, but each transaction requires entering a PIN, which the thieves had apparently captured. So always cover the keypad and log out before you walk away. Now, there's a lot of things wrong with everything that I just read, and the first one being that Chase has the technological capability and ability to alter these ATMs to make it so that after one transaction, you're logged out, and they don't. And Chase is also the bank that was recently in a previous video that I uploaded that basically froze about $50,000 worth of funds out of a couple's account, gave them no reason or explanation, and held it for 4 months, only until they then filed a lawsuit against Chase. And right before going to court, Chase says, here, you can have your money back. So Chase is now on my shit list as number 2 underneath Wells Fargo. Yeah,
Wells Fargo should stay at number 1.
But this is a problem. Bank of America, I know Bank of America, they pretty much like log you out after every transaction.
Yeah, automatically log you out.
And what Chase is doing really just doesn't make any sense.
Now, Bank of America automatically logs you out because you're using your card, and once it spits the card back out at the end of whatever you do there, it's done. That's what they're saying here. Because it's a tap, it doesn't automatically log you out. So that's why they're saying it's user error, that they should have logged out themselves, and because they didn't, that's why they're not paying them back. They're loopholing it.
Word to the wise folks, be careful, be vigilant. Diversity, security, cash flow, but most importantly in these situations, security is going to be key, and diversity moving forward after that. There's no way I would have a Chase Bank account. It wouldn't be I wouldn't use the tap feature. It would be I wouldn't use Chase Bank. End of story.
Yeah.
I truly hope that you guys find this information helpful, educational, useful, and I look forward to seeing you all back here again on my next video. Thank you all for hitting the like button and helping me reach my goal of hitting 75,000 subscribers soon. All of you helping to share these videos is paying off in sharing these important updates, the facts, the warning signs, and most importantly, helping others to prepare and gain access to the truth. Thank you, Squirrel Tribe, Michelle, for joining. And you all take care, be safe, and until next time, I'm at Kevin247, Kevin Prepper, or just plain old Kevin in all caps. And I'll see you guys real soon. Take care. Bye.
Bye. Broski literally came over here just to be in your video.